Okay, so I want to talk about the PlayStation 5 Pro because honestly, it might be my favorite piece of tech from 2024 and more than definitely going into 2025. Honestly, straight up, the PlayStation 5 Pro is just so incredibly awesome, and it gives me, personally at least, so much value in my day-to-day. I've mentioned this in the past on other videos, but as somebody who's an accountant during my day job, I spend anywhere between like 8 to 10 hours a day at a desk using a mouse and keyboard. And I know a lot of people are fine sitting down after that and going on a gaming PC and stuff. But for myself, honestly, I absolutely love just having a controller after being on a mouse and keyboard after so many hours. And for myself, at least, after a long ass day, my very favorite thing to do above all else is to game with a controller and just chill out. In my last video, I sort of mentioned in 2025, I want to slow down and be more present and intentional, whatever the hell that's supposed to mean. For me, at least, that means sort of leaning more into console gaming, like my PlayStation 5 Pro or whatever else, my normal PS5, Xbox Series S, Xbox Series X, whatever it may be. And honestly, don't get me wrong, I know there's a lot of PC overlords out there who simply love to shit on console or shit on Xbox or whatever the hell it might be. And to be frank, I really just don't care. And honestly, I have my PC setups. I love playing competitive FPS games. My go-to is Overwatch 2 and more recently Marvel's Rivals because that shit is sick. But honestly, I also just love my gaming consoles and they bring me joy. So I don't think it really matters what other people think, really. For myself, at least, compared to a PC, and I know this isn't the same for everybody, but when I turn on my PlayStation 5 Pro, I turn it on simply to relax and do nothing else, whether it be media or gaming. It's all for just chilling out and relaxing. I really just dig that. And of course, I know you can do that on PC, but for me at least, a console sort of just hits different. Is anybody else somebody who plays on PC but also happens to like console? Let me know down below. So yeah, today is my super non-technical, long-term, real-life review of the PS5 Pro, as well as sort of my take on gaming as a whole, which I'll get into at the end of this video. But with that, as with any PlayStation 5 setup on a TV, sometimes I do get the itch to throw this thing back into a desk setup. So right now I'm going to actually put it back into my desk setup because I do have some new upgrades I want to throw in there. So let's get to that. Okay, so this desk setup behind me is actually one of my favorite desk setups of all time. Right now I have the Apple Studio Display, which is actually surprisingly one of the best monitors I've ever used, especially when it comes down to any sort of content creation and color grading and all that fun stuff. The problem is though, I can't totally get down with it as like my only main monitor, mainly since it can only sort of connect to things like MacBooks and iPads and any sort of system with a Type-C port. There's no sort of display port or HDMI. So for myself to be able to get my PS5 back into my desk setup, instead I'm actually going with the Ultra Gear monitor back here. Now, since the Studio Display pretty much has some of the best speakers you can pretty much possibly get inside a monitor, the next best bet is going to be LG's OLED, which also has built-in speakers. They're not as good, but they're also like, if Apple Studio Display speakers are like 10 out of 10, these ones are like, I don't know, 8.5 out of 10. So they're definitely great, and they'll be great for keeping the setup minimal as well as working well with my game console. So yeah, let's go ahead and set that up and go from there. Okay, so now that I've got this setup complete, I can definitely say it's a whole lot less limiting, obviously because I can put my PlayStation 5 Pro right into the setup anytime I want to, but also because I have an extra set of cables. So I can swap my PS5 Pro between my TV setup and my desk setup at any point in time. And one thing I gotta say is actually kind of crazy what you're getting with the PS5 Pro considering the size of it. For this relatively small size, you're getting an incredibly good gaming experience. Now, obviously, there's some super tiny 4090 and 5090 builds that are out there, but I'm no Optimum Tech, so I'm not going to be building any one of those anytime soon. But considering the size of this thing, the graphical experience for the PS5 Pro is more than incredible, I can definitely say. For this new setup though, honestly, there's simply something so special about an OLED display. You pair that with the PS5 Pro and honestly, the graphics truly are absurd. When it comes down to gaming on the PS5 Pro at least, I truly really love the whole new PSSR or whatever it's called for the graphics upscaling because it seems to do a really good job. That and the list of Pro enhanced titles seems to be increasing month over month, which is always something to sort of look forward to. I'm personally really looking forward to Ghost of Yotei, which is probably going to be out sometime in 2025, not to mention Grand Theft Auto 6. Now, considering a solid 4K PC is going to be pretty flippin' expensive, absurdly expensive, if I'm honest, that's sort of why I've almost fallen in love more with the PS5 Pro since launch, since it really is punching way above its price point. As somebody who really loves PC gaming, I really do appreciate the increase in performance on the PlayStation 5 Pro, even if it's not, native 4K like you would get on a PC. If the image looks good, I'm in. I don't care if it's upscaled, downscaled, whatever scaled, PSSR, anything in between, generated frames, give it all to me. Again, if it looks good, I'm gonna love it. Right now, at least, I do find console gaming a lot more relaxing, which is pretty much everything I need at this point. And truly, everything on here visually looks incredible. Also, what the hell is up with the AI in Dragon Ball Sparking Zero? I am on like level 2 and Vegeta just constantly claps my cheeks and smacks me around. I don't know if I'm just washed up or getting old, if I'm doing something wrong, but is that just me? I don't know, maybe I really am just washed up, but either way, it's still a good time. And one of the main things I truly love about the PlayStation 5 is the whole DualSense experience. This one is the DualSense Edge with, all the extra buttons and stuff, but the DualSense controller just gives me everything a keyboard can't. Between all the haptics of the triggers and the feeling of the vibrations and the extra sounds out of the tiny ass built-in speaker, and the fact that there's a built-in mic, I simply love the DualSense controller, and having a tangible feeling while you're gaming is an experience in and out of its own. For me at least, that's like a 10 out of 10 god tier feature, so I really do love the DualSense controller, which is again another reason why I love my console gaming as of right now. Out of sheer determination, I literally just beat it. Like, I just beat it. I'm actually good. I am not, in fact, washed up at this video game. Come at me, bro. Let's go. Oh my god, I'm so fucking good at this video game. Jesus Christ. Is this the desk setup? Is this the desk setup right now? Is this the desk setup? Is this the flippin' desk setup, dude? Okay, so now I want to take this conversation over to, setups and PlayStation 5 Pro. And taking it back to my living room, honestly, just one of the things I want to say is that this system is incredible in terms of being simply like an all-in-one media machine. Honestly, it just does the job for anything you might want, like media, music, movies, shows, whatever you might need. And I really do appreciate that, especially if you're considering something like, a Kindle Fire Stick or whatever it's called, or an Apple TV. The PS5 and PS5 Pro just get the job done. Honestly, for me at least, sometimes it's just throwing on some music and actually cleaning or something, or just vibing out with family in the living room and music's playing on the TV, and just being able to do that on the PlayStation 5 is pretty sweet. So yeah, just another small thing I appreciate, but I place a huge amount of value in. I also want to mention the UI is sort of minimal-ish. It's clean and just simply flippin' works. And honestly, I sort of touched on it before, where I'm sort of hard-pressed whether or not I prefer the whole living room setup versus, say, a desk setup with a monitor. And I can't quite figure out if I have a preference yet. On one hand, you have the whole couch and controller experience, which for me at least, I find it's the most relaxing possible way to get your gaming in. And as of late, at least, it's been sort of my preferred way. That, and like I mentioned, when you have sort of family and company around the living room TV and you guys are just vibing out and gaming, That's an experience you can't really get on a desk setup with a monitor as easily, at least. Right now, at least, my 4-year-old daughter loves watching me just select characters in Marvel Rivals. I don't even have to be in a game. I'll be in the training room, the shooting zone, whatever you want to call it, and she'll just have me select all the characters she wants to see fly around the map. And that's just something that I can't particularly do on a desk setup. So I really do dig the living room experience. Now, on the other hand, a desk setup can provide a sense of solace and comfort. It's your own space. You can just vibe out, watch anything you want, play anything you want. And it's sort of your own area. For me, at least, you might have seen earlier, when I'm on a desk setup, I'm personally a little bit more locked in. I don't know what it is, maybe because I'm closer to the screen or something, but on certain games, I just seem to pop off a little bit more at a desk setup because it's just the way it works for me. Still, nothing is stopping you from vibing out, watching some TV or movies and just chilling at a desk setup. But for me, I guess for relaxation at least, the living room couch and controller seems to do a better job for getting me more at ease. But yeah, you guys let me know what you guys prefer. I did a poll on my community tab, and here are the results. I'll just pop them up here so you guys can see who does both or one or the other. Either way, I can definitely say desk setup or couch and controller, you're going to have a good time.
I have sticky fingers.
He has sticky fingers?
Yeah.
I don't know, sweetie. Why do you think? When talking about the PlayStation 5 Pro, there's two things that I sort of want to touch on as well that sort of make the experience a hell of a lot better. For me, at least. The first thing is for my fellow tired, sore-backed millennials who remember Blockbusters on a Friday night. That's sort of what PlayStation Plus is, but also not. Pretty much you've got these shelves and shelves of digital games, but they're also always guaranteed to be in stock, and you can sort of try them whenever you want, and it's just a part of your library. So I really do appreciate that through PlayStation Plus. And honestly, trying a new game has never been easier. If you haven't tried God of War Ragnarok, for example, that's available on PlayStation Plus now, give that game a go, especially if you've played the first one. If you haven't played the first one, that's also on PS Plus. Those two games are an absolute masterpiece. Give that a try most definitely. But yeah, I definitely think the PlayStation Plus subscription is worth it. Although it is still pretty flippin' expensive, if I'm honest. So definitely take a look at it and see if it's good for you. The second thing I want to touch on is the PlayStation Portal, which is a bit of a sleeper thing. And it's a piece of tech that's sort of gotten more popular with time, which isn't particularly a common thing to happen. Honestly, this is, again, harping back to a more personal experience, but this thing is great for me specifically, mainly because between, you know, all of life's responsibilities and parenting and trying to be healthy and still getting time to relax and stuff, this is pretty much one of those things that gives me a glimpse at being able to get some gaming in at any time I need to, whether that's going to be, you know, I don't know, if it's like 11 p.m., it's way past your bedtime. For myself, I might just lay down and play like 10 to 15 minutes while watching Family Guy, or maybe a couple minutes in the morning before the house is awake. It's just nice to have. Even if I don't use this thing every single day, it's one of those things that lets me grasp at the chance of gaming in the heavy craziness of an adult dad life, at least. But yeah, just being able to toss on a game like Baldur's Gate at any time is definitely a huge plus. Now, to round out this video, because it's already getting, you know, pretty long, and this is pretty much a fanboy love letter to the PlayStation 5 Pro as is, I will say it's definitely an enthusiast machine. Whereas if you already have the PlayStation 5, there's just tiny, minute differences between the PS5 and PS5 Pro. What I do want to say is that with the state of gaming right now, there's always going to be some weird ass war between people who will be, you know, PC versus console, PlayStation versus Xbox, or whatever else. All I can say is gaming is just gaming, and the experience is totally subjective to whoever's behind the controller or the mouse and keyboard or whatever it is that you're playing on. And truly, a tiny ass graphical difference will not make or break that experience. What I mean to say, at least, is like, I don't know, as a kid, I would spend like 200 hours playing Pokemon Crystal, just trying to get my first Entei. Also, I'd be getting completely swept by Misty's Miltank over and over and over, but I still had a good time. And those graphics were relatively awful compared to my PlayStation 1, which was just chilling right there in the corner. I could have picked up my PS1 at any time, but I chose my Game Boy for 200 hours at least to try and fill the Pokedex, and I just enjoyed the gaming experience as a whole. And at the same time, on my PS1, I would play Gran Turismo 1 over and over every single day. I'd restart the game every day, all because I didn't have a memory card. Is that crazy? By today's standards, that would be wild to start a game over every single day. But at the same time, I was just playing for the love of gaming and the fun of the game I was playing. I wasn't really getting swayed by somebody else to tell me Game Boy was better, PlayStation was bad, Dreamcast is better than PlayStation. None of that existed back then, or maybe it did, and it never hit me. But as a kid, I had so much fun playing games for the fun of gaming. Dope-ass graphics or not, the PlayStation 5 Pro gives an incredible gaming experience. The graphics are incredible, but so are the graphics and experience on the regular PS5 and the PS5 Slim and the Series S and the Series X and the Nintendo Switch and PCs, and pretty much all of those will give you a good experience. And look, you don't have to listen to me because I am some random ass dude on YouTube making videos that I'm just simply passionate about. But if I had one takeaway, is to honestly just focus on the game in front of you and stop focusing on what other people think you should play, because you might just have more fun playing games like when you or I were kids, because that is truly what gaming is, to me at least, as corny as this all sounds. In my world at least, regardless of what sort of tech I own, what PCs I have, I'm going to enjoy the PlayStation 5 and the PS5 Pro because right now it's just far more suiting for my lifestyle. And yeah, just so I don't downplay the improvements of the PlayStation 5 Pro, yeah, it's going to be a little bit better than the PS5 and the PS5 Slim, and those improvements will nudge it a little bit closer to the performance of a PC. Whether or not that's going to be worth it is totally up to you and your lifestyle. Anyways, thanks for watching this long-ass video with an ending rant about video games, I guess. I think I might be a true video game nerd at this point, but what I can say is just don't let anybody talk you out of a good time, because again, we will all be a little bit happier if we just play games because we want to play games. Anyhow, I appreciate you watching. Let me know what game you guys played as a kid. I would love to know what memories you guys have if we're in the same boat in terms of the games we played. And yeah, I appreciate you watching till the end. Till next time.